As a result of anyone at any age being able to post information on social media about any topic, there are countless videos circulating about how to properly care for your pet rabbit. Some of those videos are awesome, but still today there is a great deal of information in the world of pet rabbits that's incorrect. Some of it is immensely harmful to your furry friend, and I'm going to talk about that in this first episode of what you need to know about caring for your pet rabbit. In future episodes, we'll dive into the details and some of the other topics that I can't cover here, but to make this as short as possible, and despite all the challenging of all the historic misinformation that still exists and is circulated about these precious animals, I'll include what I can here in this part one. So let's get started. The first thing I want to say about domesticated rabbits or your pet rabbit, sticking with the basics as much as possible in this first part, in this part one, is that there is absolutely no difference whatsoever between your bunny, the bunny that is in your home as a healthy and happy pet, and those domesticated rabbits that breeders keep out in the cage or in the barn. There's absolutely no difference between your cute, well cared for pet rabbit and those rabbits that are consigned to lives where they spend most of their time in small, miserable, wire-bottom cages stacked up in the garage or are kept side by side in hutches in someone's backyard. There's absolutely no difference whatsoever between the animal that you care for and provide a safe, loving home for, and those rabbits that are removed from their cages only to be shown at fairs or participate in 4-H projects or, sadly, slaughtered for meat. There's no difference. They are, in fact, the very same animals. They are the same breeds. They're all domesticated rabbits. Though I do not personally support rabbits being used for any purpose other than responsible pet ownership, I do realize we live in a world where the majority of these animals worldwide are still used for other purposes. My strong viewpoint on using rabbits for purposes other than pet ownership is that regardless what the purpose of the rabbit is, or any animal for that matter, people don't need to be cruel and neglectful to the animal during its lifetime, regardless its use. In other words, cruelty is cruelty, neglect is neglect, and abuse is abuse. It does not matter the reason or excuse for those actions. It doesn't change the fact that rabbits that are out in hutches in the backyard and never get any socialization, never get room to run, jump, and play, are fed poor diets, are the very same animals that are in your home and my home, where we care for them properly, socialize them properly, give them space, have them on correct diets, do well checks, and do all the things that responsible bunny owners do for their pets. I don't necessarily like doing videos like this, but someone has to stand up for the voiceless creatures that continue to be kept in filthy conditions while the owners use the excuse, "Oh, that's just a rabbit that's used for agricultural purposes," or the excuse that I have heard so often around where I live, "Oh, those Flemish giant rabbits, no, they're not going to be anybody's pets. They're only used for breeding, so they stay in their cages until it's time to breed again." That is disgusting, and it is the very reason that people like me work so hard to distribute information on the realities of these animals. Domestic rabbits do not change breeds or change the type of animal that they are, or their biology, or their base needs, or their base nature. These rabbits do not suddenly become a different animal with different needs. No, these animals, all of them, every single one, have an inherent biological attribute, and they all have inherent biological needs. Those needs do not change based on what we, the human, might want to use the animal for. With that said, here are a few top things that you or anyone needs to know about these delightful creatures. In this video, I'm not addressing rabbits that have actual disabilities or special needs. I'm talking in general about domesticated rabbits across the board, all breeds, all colors, and all sizes. Number 1, rabbits are equipped with strong hind legs. They are built to run fast for short distances and then rest. Their very biology demands that they have a lot of space to do that, and also to jump and binky and essentially move around in large spaces that are big enough to accommodate them. Of course, smaller rabbits do not need as much space as a larger rabbit. Like a 2-pound dwarf rabbit is not going to need near the space that an 18-pound Flemish giant might need. They need a lot of exercise and space regardless their size. This does not change because someone decides that the rabbit will be used for purposes other than responsible pet ownership. Number 2, rabbits that are well cared for and free of any unexpected injury or serious health issue in their life can live 12, 14, 16 years or longer. Some of the most popular videos about pet rabbits say that they live from 4 to 6 to 8 years when properly cared for. Why the discrepancy there? It might be because that number includes average lifespan being 1 year for a lot of pet rabbits. Many pet rabbits are purchased as kits by people that did not do proper research before deciding to get a pet rabbit. They were little and cute and fluffy, and their child wanted this cute little fluffy bunny for Easter or whatever. Still today, people purchase these animals for children who are not old enough to understand the fragile nature of the animal, nor are they old enough to accept responsibility for proper care. A good number of those animals die before their very first birthday because of improper care and unsafe handling. Number 3, rabbits are easily trained to use a litter box. The easiest way to train a rabbit to use a litter box is to keep hay as the top layer in the litter box. While there is historically a lot of debate about wood shavings and safe litter for rabbits, stay as close to nature as possible. A lot of the science reports that the wood shavings, for example, are based on, I have a lot of credible information based on solid research where I did pull a lot of the reports, and those articles are documented on my loveyourrabbit.com. I will link that in the description box below for anyone who hasn't seen that information. If you haven't read it already, I have a book called Bunny Conversations, The Entertaining Dialogue of Pet Rabbits. It includes a lot of best care practices for pet rabbit ownerships, including tips and tricks for those of you who are expert rabbit owners. If you haven't read that already, that's by JANA BROCK, and it is available in book outlets all over the world, including Amazon, Barnes & Noble. There's a lot of good, documented, credible information about best care practices for these animals. You can also get information on house rabbit societies and other pet rabbit sites that publish credible information. Number 4, although experienced rabbit owners do not use those small rabbit jail-like hutches for primary enclosures, sadly, a lot of rabbits still spend their lives in those tiny little cages. No animal should live their life in a too small space where they are mostly ignored and rarely given proper attention and care. Number 5, rabbits are warren animals. In this context, warren means they do well in groups or pairs. Even having one bonded partner for your rabbit can make all the difference in the world. Rabbits can get depressed and lonely. They need socialization pretty much every day and night. A lot of rabbits are bonded to their human owners who can spend a lot of time with them, but if they're not, it is likely that they are sad, lonely, and will start to display a lot of behaviors that you might not particularly like in your home. Again, rabbits are social animals. They need consistent socialization. I have many bonding videos on this channel. Please practice safe bonding methods and make sure that there is a proper introduction period. Very serious injuries can occur in a matter of seconds if bonding processes are not safe. Your rabbit should be spayed or neutered and completely healed from the surgery prior to permanently bonding him or her with a partner or into a group of rabbits. Safety should always be the number one priority when entering any bonding process with one or more domesticated rabbits. Number 6, aggression in rabbits is not a normal thing. So if you see someone who's a rabbit owner telling everyone that their rabbit is a jerk and calling the rabbit other hateful names, you can be sure for the most part that something is happening to that rabbit that is not right, not natural, not caring, etc. Or that the rabbit has had a past where trauma or neglect or abuse or something has caused him or her to develop this aggressive nature. Rabbits are prey animals by nature. They are largely docile creatures, but they can learn to no longer trust humans if they're mistreated. One of the major contributors to aggression is being over-caged and not given space, not giving a partner, not getting the attention they need, or being flat out hit, abused, dumped, that sort of thing. Humans have historically not treated these animals well, and that problem continues today. So if humans have not had a lot of experience, hands-on experience, having rabbits in their homes day to day, they might not recognize that a rabbit that has aggression has a problem and needs rehabilitation. I will go into rehabilitating rabbits in a later video. Number 7, rabbits do not need to be disciplined, yelled at, sprayed, or hit. Rabbits naturally have a gentle, docile nature. Though I strongly disagree with hitting any other living thing, including humans, it is especially worrisome when I see social media posts where a new rabbit owner, or even one that's had a rabbit before, is asking the group how they discipline their pet rabbits. Do you hit them? Do you spray them with water? Do you spray them with something sour or put sour, bitter gels on your cords? No. Many times I see posts where a rabbit has chewed something that was important to the rabbit owner, such as a pair of shoes or a cord. Here is the reality of owning a pet rabbit. They are diggers and they are chewers. You have to accommodate that animal in your home or in your indoor space if that is where your pet will live with you. Hopefully in a spacious, clean, and temperature-controlled environment. Learn about bunny proofing. Put cords out of reach. Every single cord, every single time, even the low voltage cords, like cell phone chargers. Put shoes and clothes out of the way, like you would a puppy, like you would a kitten. You have to learn about the base nature of these animals. Learn why it is unsafe for your rabbits to be able to chew through the underside of your couch or chairs or mattresses where fiberglass fibers exist. There are good reasons why we teach bunny proofing, why bunny proofing is documented in credible books like mine, on websites like mine, like House Rabbit Society, like many other credible resource internet sites. So check into that stuff. If you cannot accommodate the base nature of these animals and respect it and accommodate it in your home, move things around in your home so that that bunny is safe and so that your house doesn't get chewed to the ground, then do not get one of these animals. Number 8, rabbits need to be fed an herbivore diet that is fairly basic. They should not be fed popcorn, human cookies, chips, or other such foods. They are not humans, so please avoid all junk foods that humans consume. They're not appropriate for your pet rabbit. In fact, diet is so important when caring for these animals that they can die from developing just gut problems like diarrhea. A rabbit can easily get diarrhea, which can cause a series of cascading health events that happen very, very quickly, and you can lose your animal. This can happen when they're given unsafe greens, too many greens, plants they're not supposed to eat, or when their diet is suddenly changed. They get gut problems when they eat something they should not have eaten that's a household item that should not have been left out for them to get into. Another reason why bunny proofing is so important. They are curious animals. They will taste, chew, or eat a lot of things they shouldn't if given the chance. Dietary changes should be done very slowly so the rabbit's gut flora can adjust to the new foods. Rabbits should have a consistent supply of fresh, long strand hay. A small percentage of their diet should be rabbit-safe greens that they are used to, such as a spring mix and red lettuces and dandelion greens. While introducing new greens into the diet, any new food whatsoever, it should be done slowly. If used, a small percentage of their diet should be high-quality rabbit pellets. They can have a small treat, but it should be a natural and safe for rabbits food. Treats should not be overfed. Always give them a fresh supply of drinking water. While bowls is a more natural way for rabbits to drink, what happens if they tip the bowl over, especially a smaller rabbit, and you're sleeping or you're away for the day? The rabbit can go into dehydration. And if you've never seen a rabbit that became dehydrated because he or she did not have access to water, it looks very much like the rabbit has broken his spine. And we've seen this here when rabbits have come to us from other places. The rabbit will literally drag his hind legs when he's in dehydration. And it was all caused from a bowl tipping over and there being no other source of water in the enclosure with the bunny. That is why I recommend supplying bowls, but always having one of those pet rabbit water bottles that some people don't like. But there are many, many reasons, if you've heard any of my videos on this channel, why you should always have a backup supply of water. And those water bottles are an excellent backup supply, even if you feed your rabbit water out of a bowl. And remember, overweight rabbits are unhealthy rabbits. They cannot get too much weight on them, or they cannot eat their cecotropes. Rabbit owners know what cecotropes are, know that the rabbit needs to consume these nutrient-dense little fecal packs that the rabbit excretes every day. But I'll go into that in another video. When the rabbit gets too much weight on him or her, they can't reach to groom themselves. They can't reach to eat their cecotropes, and then that also can cause a series of cascading health events, including organ problems. So feed your rabbit correctly. It's very, very important. And in future videos, the part 2, part 3, part 4 that I'm going to do in this series, I'm just starting today with this video, I'll try to remember to include what I call pro tips at the end of each one. And here's my pro tip for this video. Since I've had so many rescuers bring me dumped, abused, abandoned, or neglected rabbits, I developed a fairly safe way to ensure that any rabbit new to me does not suffer from gut problems coming in the door. Some have arrived with diarrhea, some have arrived in GI stasis, and I've learned to treat that safely and quickly at home. GI stasis, for those of you who've never dealt with that, is gastrointestinal stasis. Basically, that is when the rabbit's digestive system slows down or stops moving altogether. It is a death sentence to rabbits. It happens very quickly, and it's something to always watch for. GI stasis is one of the reasons that I provide 2 meals with greens and pellets a day. I give them half of the amount in each meal that most people would feed during one meal, but that builds in a well check for me morning and night. If the rabbits aren't rushing up to their greens and pellets excited to eat morning and night, I know that I need to stop and take a closer look. One of the bunnies might not be feeling well if they're not very excited to eat each and every meal. Back to new rabbits coming in my door and what I do. Because when a new rabbit comes to me, I often have no idea what the previous diet of that bunny was. And since dietary changes need to occur slowly so as not to do any damage to their gut, I always start with fresh hay and water, just a few pellets, and I mean like 5, 6, 7 pellets. I might give them a leaf or 2 of tiny plain red lettuce or 1 dandelion leaf, and that is it. They eat mostly hay and water for the first couple days. That is to reset their gut flora, to kind of get their system used to what they're going to be eating most of the time, and make sure that any diarrhea or loose bowels that they have are quickly resolved until their poop transforms into the round kind of Cocoa Puff pebble-like poops that we're all used to seeing hundreds of a day in our litter boxes for our rabbits. Then that rabbit is going to eat mostly hay and water, tiniest bit of greens, a few pellets. And then from there, up to a week or 2, I work them into eating the very same diet in the same percentages of greens and pellets that the other rabbits in the house eat. And I feed all rabbits here the exact same way, except of course in different portions, because I have Flemish Giants here that are 18 pounds a piece. And I also have little tiny dwarf rabbits that weigh 2 pounds a piece. So obviously they don't get as much food as a bigger rabbit would get or a smaller rabbit, but they do get the same percentage and the same diet day in and day out. And I hope that tip helps someone out there who may find themselves in a position of helping a rabbit in need or a rabbit that's been brought in off the street when you don't know what to do. Please do not put them in a small cage and just give them carrots. That is the exact wrong thing to do. I will provide more information on things to know about your pet rabbit in part 2. When speaking to someone about getting their first pet rabbit, please inform them of the realities of owning these amazing animals. There is an immense amount of joy in having rabbits as pets, but it also comes with a great responsibility. So please join me, do your part in correcting historic misunderstandings. As always, be kind to animals, and thank you for caring.